So I'm out here taking pictures of the 300ZX. I'm gonna drift this car, but it's kind of hard to find parts for this car. It's 35 years old. It's not very beginner friendly. I thought about a list of cars that are pretty beginner friendly for 2026. I'm gonna get the car back to the house. Let's talk about it a little more. Okay, so it is quite some time later. I wanted to do a little research before I just put this video up. Bear with me, I have some notes here. Drift cars that I would drift if I was starting to drift in 2026. I base these cars off of affordability first off. All the cars on the list are cars that you can find for under $10,000. I looked up the weight of each car, the weight distribution, how much horsepower it made, if it has angle kits available, if it comes with a LSD from factory, how much the motors go for, because that's very important. You will blow up motors. I should have did transmissions, but I didn't look that up because that also breaks. When I'm editing the video, I'll put some notes up, how much the transmissions are, how affordable the car is maintenance wise. So axles, things that break a lot with the car. Yeah, I kind of break up all those parameters and the pros and cons. And when I'm editing, I'll put up a number scale from like 1 to 10 because I'm not gonna really do this in any order. I'm just gonna kind of fire the cars out that I thought about. Let's get started. So on this list, I have 9 cars total. 2 honorable mentions and 7 cars that I just think are a good fit for drifters in 2026. New drifters, that is. Or maybe someone that's trying to get back in the game and doesn't want to spend a ton of money on a full race car. First on the honorable mention, the new Edge Mustang. And for that matter, all the S195s. The earlier models come with a 5.0, and then I think in 96 they came with a 4.6 that came in literally everything that Ford had a V8. They put them in Crown Vics that were made till what, 2013, 2011. There's no issue finding these motors. They're everywhere. They're 5x114. That's pretty cool. The handbrakes never work. Either got to get a hydro e-brake or just learn how to left foot brake. There is some body kits for it. I've always liked the Cobra R bumper. I had that on mine. I know KBD made a kit. I've heard mixed reviews about it, but it's also on the honorable mention list because it has horrible weight distribution. It handles like shit, and it's a little older than a lot of the cars on this list. But one cool thing about them is there's a ton of them. There's a ton of V6s, and the V6 body parts fit on the GT. So if someone hits your door, go rip a door off of a V6. The next and final car on the honorable mention is the C5 Corvette. Factory LSD, LS1, T55 transmission. The only things for me is there's not much style for the car and there's no wide body for the car. And you know me, I like them big 3-piece negative offset wheels. So that's just always been a struggle for me, especially because most of the angle kits you run are gonna push your wheels out so far. And if you can't already fit good wheels on the stock body or the Z06 wide body, then good luck. But all that aside, the only reason this car is on the honorable mention, because I do think it's a great car, is because it's a little hard to find them under 10,000. It's not impossible, but one under 10,000 can be salvage title, a ton of miles. Maybe you're gonna find one that needs some repairs. I just couldn't find any for 10K when I was making this video. Now to the actual list. So first on the list is the NC Miata. It seems like people don't really care for this Miata, but when I was doing research, 2,400 to 2,600 pounds. It's like, just like every other Miata. Near perfect 50-50 weight distribution, really cool. Some pros here, that 50-50 should be in the pros, and the weight, they're notoriously reliable. Very cheap to maintain, it's just a 4-cylinder. Some of them come with a Torsen LSD from factory. And angle kits, you can get a cheap angle kit for like $400 all the way up to some baller stuff for $2,700. Fun fact, it's the same angle kit they run into RX-8, I guess. So while I was editing this video, I started doom scrolling and I seen a video by 3-Piece USA that started talking about the NC Miata. And according to them, this car was built on a shortened RX-8 chassis, which is why you can run the angle kit from an RX-8, which means that it handles pretty good. Also, the motor is pretty much a Duratec, which is a Ford motor. It revs to 7,200, and I actually did a little research. Some people are saying it's pretty reliable. Just make sure you're staying on top of maintenance like most motors. And other people are saying it's not the best motor, but I mean, they're cheap, so that's cool. And revving to 7,200, that's like Honda shit. That's pretty sick. This thing actually kind of looks like a S2000 to me, just a little bit. If you squint and you're like really far away, I don't know. Also, I decided to put the price of the transmission and axles and parts like that in the description, as well as a breakdown of each car, so check that out. Cons of this car. It's slow. It's a 2-liter that only makes 170 horsepower, which, by the way, this might be a pro, I don't know, but the motor's around 2,000 to 3,800 to replace, which not too bad. Also in the cons, I couldn't find much aero for it. You know, there's a couple kits that make it look cool, but they're not so much like drift style. If that's important to you, something to think about. If not, skip by it, man. Get you a Miata. Another con with the Miata, it's wheelbase, 91 inches. That's why I went back to S13 was because I like the shorter wheelbase. I like cars. I like how it flicks. I like that Nakamura style of drifting. I think 91 is a little too short though. It feels like the car is gonna be very fidgety. So if you're just learning, you're gonna be doing a lot of wheel correction, and I feel like everyone's gonna see it on the outside. Probably spin a little more than, you know, some cars with longer wheelbase. So angle kit for this car would probably be important out the gate. I mean, I did have an FC, which I think is around 96. That was the shortest wheelbase I've ever drifted. Love that car. But the extra 5 makes a difference as you grow about it. Next on the list, 335i, the E9X. I've always wanted one of these cars. I thought that they're pretty cool. I like the Street Fighter kits that they make for them. I have been a little scared of the reputation of the motor. You know, I hear mixed things about it a lot. More specifically the N54, which are the ones that you can find under 10,000 very easily. I have seen some N55s for under 10,000, but not too many. These cars are 3,500 to 4,000 pounds, depending on the package. It's kind of heavy. Near perfect 50-50 weight distribution. They make around 300 horsepower, and apparently these cars are like very tunable, so that's in the pro. Tons of aftermarket support from them, cheap angle kits. When I was looking at the N54s, I was finding motors everywhere from $1,900 to $5,000, like remanufactured or compression tested. Not too bad as far as like the motor price nowadays is going, especially the guys that go SR or JZ. It's a pretty good price. The cons, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but from what I researched, none of them came with a LSD, which is not a huge problem. You could just weld it. All my drift cars have always had welded diffs anyways. And then the reliability, which is, I guess, debatable. I've seen both sides of it. There's some people I've watched drifters on YouTube and had pretty good success. I think it's just like, from what they say is you keep up with the maintenance and you're on top of everything, preventative maintenance included, the motor will last. And honestly, it's just good practice. It's something you should do for any car that you have that you're drifting. It does make it a little less beginner friendly if you have to just start wrenching on it right out the gate. But maybe you could find some that have some of the things worked out already. Also, look at this picture of it with a Street Fighter kit again. I probably wouldn't drift with it, but it's pretty sick. So 335i wheelbase is 108, which is right in between a 350Z and a G35. I've drifted both those cars, and I think this is a cool little medium. So my camera overheated. I guess I was in the wrong settings. Trying to get too spicy with it. I think it still looks okay. A lot of talk about wheelbases. I like the shorter wheelbases and the fast flicks, but the thing that's cool about long wheelbases is it feels more stable on high speed. So if you guys want to go and drift really fast, these cars are way more comfortable. Moving on the list. The next couple cars are definitely cars that are on a lot of people's lists, I would say. Next car is the FRS. Before it was rebadged as a Toyota, the Scion FRS and the same year BRZs, I am seeing them for under $10,000. Some pros of this car: tons of aftermarket support, tons of motor mount kits for when you want to get rid of the Subaru motor, factory Torsen LSD, 101 wheelbase. That's about the same as the S14. I like that. 2,800 pounds, pretty light. Near 50-50 weight distribution. The cons, it's very slow, but it seems like it has enough to party. I see plenty of people at track events getting down with bone stock FRSs. But another con is this motor, I'm still seeing them around $4,000 to $5,000. You know, at that point, just put the money towards a better motor if you blow it up. The other con is they're very hard to work on. So I saw videos of how you do the spark plugs, and dudes are just like tossing a spark plug into the cylinder wall and just praying, and you're getting it lined up in there. There's basically no space. So next on the list, no brainer, 350Z G35. Yeah, I know, everyone go ahead, take over stuff, no bumper, trumpets, yeah, all those jokes. All those jokes aside, these cars are really good out of the box for drifting. You don't believe me? Watch this video. Neither pro or con, but 350Z, 104 wheelbase, G35's 112. It did feel like a boat, but it did feel very stable. Unlike top out second, when you upshift third, feels really stable. Both of them have a near 50-50 weight distribution. Pro, 3,200 to 3,600 pounds. The 350Z doesn't feel as heavy as it is. 280 horsepower for the DE. When you dyno it, it's more like 240. Slow, but we're getting into that horsepower where you can really just kind of party and have fun. And you can keep it this fast as long as you want. Because if you're not trying to be the next freaking Von Gittin Jr., who cares? Drift your little slow car and have fun. Because guess what? You're not gonna burn that many tires. Which means you're gonna be saving a lot of money. And you can get a lot more seat time than other people. More pros. Tons of aftermarket support. The people even driving on eBay stuff. eBay coilovers, just risking it all. Cheap angle kits. I ran the GK Tech angle kit. It's like 400 bucks. It's okay. If you want to daily drive the car and still be able to have fun at the track, it's plenty. And you can also go real baller. You can go all the way up to Wisefab if you want to. Between the G and the Z, I put them in the same category because if you didn't know this, a lot of suspension, diff, transmissions, the motors, a lot of it is interchangeable. The only thing that isn't interchangeable with these cars is like interior and obviously exterior pieces. You can style this. Origin, again, makes a really cool kit for this. Vertex kit, looks similar, but it's pretty cool. Ings, there's a tons of body kits for this. The stock body does fit some pretty crazy sizes though. So I actually ran an 1810-0 on my stock body Z with a PBM angle kit, and I just had to roll the front fender. So they actually fit really cool, aggressive size wheels on the Z. The G, I think the coupes can. I've only had sedans. They don't do it, but luckily they do make wide body kits for the car now. Motors are really cheap. If you have a lot of trust in Facebook Marketplace and some random, there's one in somebody's backyard right now, guaranteed going for like $400 or $500. The transmissions are very stout in these cars. The CD's nuts. I've personally never blown one. I heard the earlier models have some issues. Sometimes people just seem really just too like aggro when you're shifting, you know, you're real butter with the shift, man. You can be fast and butter and smooth. You don't have to like bang that shit into the, you know what I mean? Talking about, like, people always say banging gears, like, no, bro, don't bang gears. You're gonna blow out your synchros. Don't do that. And then when you're clutch kicking, just get it engaged. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to the floorboard. This is why I think a lot of people break shit. I don't break that much stuff, man. The engine's not very tunable. They do make a ton of motor mount kits for this car, so you could easily swap it. And the best part is you can run the transmission with the LS, with the JZ, with the K series, whatever you want to do. The handbrakes almost never work. The VLSDs almost never work. But besides that, these cars are very solid. And I know that a lot of people hate on them because sideshows, trumpet, all that kind of stuff. They get a lot of hate. People pull up to the tracks in the most just missiled out bucket version of it, and drifting is about style. Whether you like it or not, you should have a little style. You should take pride. You should pull up to the track. You should feel good about your car. You don't want to just pull up in some bucket, freaking front bumpers off, and then no one takes pictures of your cars, and you're asking media, you guys got any pictures of my cars? And everybody's just like, at least just leave the bumpers on it. Put some cool wheels on it and just lower it. That's all you have to do. The FRS kind of just skipped past the hate. Like, I feel like they just landed in this, like, it's the next 240. It's cool. They got all this tuning stuff. People are driving it hard. So unfortunately, it is a lot about the drivers. Maybe if more people drove the 350Z and the Gs that care about this kind of stuff, then you could help bring their reputation up. You'd be part of the solution, not the problem. Because there was a time, I remember when I first started drifting, you pull up to a drift event with a 240 and everyone's like, yeah, it's a 240 guy, you know? Ton of them. No one cares about them. Eventually the Z's will be cool again, and the G's, I'm pretty sure. Because, yeah, like I said, the 240 wasn't cool for the longest, and now they're cool again. And if you just said no, they're not, that's all right. Whatever, dude. I don't really care. Next up, we have the S197 Mustang. Talking about the ones from 05 to 2009. I think you could get 2010s. They changed the body, but they didn't change the motor on those ones, so they're still a 4.6. Basically, the S197s with the 4.6 you can get for under $10,000. I was even finding some for like $5 bands. 107 wheelbase. It's about the same as the E9X. 3,500 pounds. Not as heavy as I thought. It looks heavier. 57-43 weight distribution. That falls into the con. There is ways to try to fix the weight distribution. You gotta do your own research on that. I know it's like tubular front ends and put some sandbags in the trunk or something. 300 horsepower, good amount of torque. You can definitely drift these cars stock, and you can keep it stock if you want. No nitrous in it. No nitrous in the Z and the G. They eat it up. 1,200 to 4,000 for the motor. Not bad. They do make angle kits for it. Cons, no real styling for this car. There's like one bumper that kind of reminds me of like a BN style bumper, and I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, other than that, everything else is kind of just a no-go for me. Solid axle, same as the SN95, but the only reason I'm saying that's a con is I know people say you can drift on a solid axle. I know, I've done it. I just like having more adjustability in the rear end than the solid axle provides. So that's the only reason why I'm saying it's a con. Just like the SN95, the handbrakes don't work. But just like the SN95, there's a ton of V6 models, and you can use all the aero from those. So if people blow out your doors, go get you one from a V6 Mustang. People just throw those things away. I'm pretty sure they just throw them away. I don't know what my camera died. First video back, and I am struggling. Camera overheated, battery died. Give me a like and subscribe, please. So yeah, like I was saying, I'm pretty sure that's what people do. They just get a V6 Mustang and throw them away. Because why why would anybody want one? I have seen people drift V6 Mustangs, all shade aside. I didn't do any research on the V6 models. Like, I figured you wouldn't want one because I wouldn't want one. But if you do drift a V6 Mustang and you're watching this, I don't know, let us know. How is it? These are 2 cars that I actually been thinking about for a while. And this is kind of what made me put this list together. Next on the list, Gen 5 Camaro. I don't see too many of them at the track. Actually, I've never seen one at the track. Any track event I went to at least. 38 to 4,000 pounds. Bitch is heavy. So their weight distribution is almost 50-50. I've seen some sources saying that they're 52-48. This is where it gets interesting. The LS3, 420 horsepower. Okay, remember, these cars are under $10,000. Clutch type LSD. The LS3, however, is one of the more expensive motors on this list. The cheapest one I found was $5,000. People want them. And it went up to $10,000 for like compression tested, remanufactured, all that kind of stuff. I've only found one angle kit for it, and it's $1,800. It's not horrible, but it's up there. Cons, I didn't find any aero. And honestly, I don't think they're the best looking car. Another con is the wheelbase, 112, pretty long car. 112-inch wheelbase at 4,000 pounds. You're swinging a motherfucking boat. It has back seats. The Mustang has back seats. The FRS has back seats. The 335i has back seats. The only cars that don't are the Miata and the 350Z. Even the G has back seats. So if you're looking for like a daily, you want to be able to take your friends around, maybe you got a dog, you can throw them in these cars. They last forever. Probably know Marco, Drift Happy. Here's a LS3 C6 Corvette that has like 200-something thousand miles on it, and he's throwing nitrous on it, and it's still just, they don't really blow up. Knock on wood, because I hope I didn't just jinx them, but they're pretty solid motors, basically. And yes, I found some for under $10,000. Manual at that. They come manual. Here's the interesting point. If you get an automatic one for even cheaper, they sell the 8 HP adapter plates to this. Very interesting car. It's been on a list for me. You know, like the 240, I'm happy with it. It makes 240 horsepower. It doesn't burn tires. It's light as hell, so it feels faster than it is. And I kind of just want to leave that as that. But I do want a car that's like 500-600 horsepower so I could party with these guys out here, because everyone out here has 500 horsepower minimum, it seems like. I'm getting roasted all the time. It's not that fun. I don't always want to run lead. Definitely a car you should consider, okay? And this next car, I don't think I've heard anyone talk about, and I haven't seen anyone drifting them. You might see me pop out on one of these. Challenger RT, 4,200 pounds. It is heavy as hell. It's not the best weight balance. 54.3 and 45.7. But here's where it gets interesting. 372 horsepower. A new motor is around 3,000 to 5,000. I realize I've been saying new motor, but I meant used to remanufactured to compression tested. Angle kit, I only seen one, $3,000. This is where things get even more interesting for this car. For the 15 and up, they already come with an 8 HP 70, okay? So you could do the E-clutch, and then you can do the Triptronic E thingy. The transmission's already in there. These are some of them I've been finding for freaking under $10,000. You tell me a 2015 Challenger's under $10,000? That's pretty sick. The wheelbase, 116. This is the biggest car on the list. And yes, it is a motherfucking boat. There's no style for this car. You can do the Hellcat wide-body stuff or whatever it's called, the Scat Pack wide-body. That's kind of it. Another con, no LSDs. But weld that bitch. Let me check when I'm editing and see if you can just throw in a LSD from like a Scat Pack or something. Okay, so there you go. That pretty much concludes my list. Final thoughts for me. They're all pretty cool. They all work. They all can fit different areas of your life. If you need a car to daily drive at the same time, you're commuting to work and stuff, maybe these bigger V8 cars aren't really the best option for you. And like the other thing to consider is when you're doing maintenance on these cars, like the bigger motors need more oil, they need more spark plugs, they need more coil packs, they need more injectors. All that kind of stuff is stuff you got to think about if you want to rebuild the motor or you want to build the motor for more power, more cylinders, more money. So these are all things you want to think about. The Z is cool, the G is cool. They are a bit older, something to think about. You know, these cars are now like 20 years old, so you're gonna wanna be checking bushings and all that stuff. So you might have to do more repairs than you want to. These cars are cars that I would trust to be able to drive on a daily basis and get you to the track and back, as long as you didn't crash. Let me know. What do you guys think about this list? Leave me a comment. Let me know if there's a car that you think should have made the list that didn't, because I kind of rushed this video. I like the list. I hope you like the list. I hope you like me because I like you.